So this market is actually looking relatively bullish, but I'm feeling a little bit bearish. Are we making a big mistake trying to short BTC at this next big zone? So I'm covering the details on this one. I've got tons of altcoins, some on really good supports, and a couple of nice alt shorts. And then I've got some stocks for you. Microsoft short playing out nicely, guys. Monday, let's go. Guys, and remember, as always, hit the like, hit the bell, and hit the subscribe. Now, it is Monday, and we're supposed to have chaos in the house, but he's still causing other sorts of chaos on vacation. But luckily for us, we've got Mr. Bearish. Hello, sir. Is that Superman you're wearing today?
It is. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
For this super pump in the market. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get a whole 4% today.
Enjoying the 3% move we got on Aero after waiting for 6 days for that pump. I mean, look, at least we got something. Okay, so guys, we're going to talk to James. There's a lot of news going on around there at the moment, and new James from last week is now gone, and we got old James back.
One's gone. Sorry, he got the ugly one back.
Not as sexy, unfortunately, but let's go. Okay, guys, banter bubbles. You can see there's movement. Pump. Oh, do we need to top long this one now again for the bigger move? So that's an interesting 8% up at the moment. Hyperliquid following the plan. So far, so good on that one. BTW, by the way, I have no idea what that is at the moment, but all over, it's a little bit green, and I think it's long overdue that we got some kind of move out of the markets, but is this simply just another trap of disappointment for us? So guys, remember, what's going to come in super handy for you guys when things do start turning super bullish is you're going to be able to trade these bubbles directly. So all you need to do is go into the show description, get your bubbles link going, and then what you can do is trade these things live. So as you see these bubbles waking up, you're going to connect your trading exchange, and then you can start taking positions. So you can track these bubbles on lower time frames, and when you see the momentum, maybe they're turning green, you can start longing the living daylights out of them when you want to. Okay, so there's some cool developments there on bubbles, but let's get into Bitcoin right now and see what's going on. This is us on the 2-hour time frame. Now, we covered quite a lot yesterday on the Sunday Banger. The Sunday Banger is a session myself and DJ and Dave do in the Charters Discord. We tee everyone up for the week, and we talk about some key moves leading into the Asia session and what to expect leading into Monday. And yesterday was another banger. We got this weekend low sweep for the long, and then we dropped it into, or pumped it into, the short zone for the rejection. And you can see now Bitcoin is pumping up and headed to quite a big bear zone a little bit higher up here. This is a simple 618 wick fill, and I do have some bearish order blocks sitting in this type of region. So I just want to highlight this area. This is a big danger zone, and I identified this one on the daily entry this morning as well. If you guys are watching the daily entry videos, I identified this as the next big reaction zone. So my view was, if we break through this resistance band, which is the 50-day MA, we need to wait till we get into the 64,400 region for our next potential short on BTC. So you can see we've got a slightly bearish order block here. We've got a wick fill. We've got a 618. We know a lot of traders are going to try and start shorting in that type of zone. And then on top of that, look at our oscillator now on the 2-hour. We are on the verge of printing some kind of bearish divergence. So in terms of like taking on risk and stuff like that, we wait for these key zones and we wait for the signs, and then we try those areas. And then obviously, if we start moving higher, we're going to cut these, we're going to cut those trades, and then we look at the next big zone. But right now for me, I've got some sell orders waiting here, 64.4 in that type of region here on BTC, 64,400. I got another 50,000 ready there to add to my Bitcoin short. And then I am in a mixed bag at the moment because the market is giving us mixed signals. We've got some shorts over here, we've got some longs over there, and we're really just kind of playing the game now, waiting for a big move, whether it's up or down on BTC. So things are a little bit all over the place. Uni, for example, that was a long from last week. We covered that on Friday and in my channel. Gito was from DJ and Dave yesterday. Pendle, I gave that one last night on the Sunday Banger Hype. I've got a top long happening here. ETHFI was a nice bearish looking short as well, and you can see Aero that when entry just won't stop toying with us at the moment. So there's a lot happening, but also a little happening because the moves are so small at the moment. Okay, but I'm going for the short here, 64.4. I'm expecting some kind of fight in that area and looking for it to roll over. And now if it does start rolling over, what do we look for on BTC? Well, I think you just keep it really simple. You've got your bearish VWAP You've got your 50-day MA. Look at that. And this can act as our first line of bullish support here for anyone looking for continuation. So we don't have to short this thing to zero. We could just look for a simple rejection like we had earlier today, and then we can start planning our way around it. But your support is going to be 63,600, making sense to me at the moment. It's a simple SR flip here of that 50-day MA, and we can use that as our first base. And if you are bullish and you are looking for higher, there will be a couple of interesting targets, and you can see out the gates here immediately, you most likely have that 786 sitting there at that undercarriage, 64,800. So that is going to be the next danger zone. Then we got wick fills, and we can always go into our higher time frame chart, depending on obviously how you're looking at it and how you're playing your leverage and things. And we can see the possibility of the liquidity getting taken out here at this macro 382 cannot be ignored. It is still an option. We've always had this option here for us, upside and downside, and we need to be reactive in the key zone. So right now, that 67, 68 is still an interesting zone if we can get some kind of momentum this week. And then lower down, guys, my big level on the daily, 61, still looking good for me. Like, I still feel there's high conviction longs there at around about 61, and it doesn't have to be, you know, a zone where we're calling the bottom. It can just be simply a move like that before they roll it over again. So guys, what we're trying to do here is obviously be reactive in the good zones, trying not to get too married to these things, but it is very difficult at the moment with these very small moves. It's quite difficult for me. I don't know, let me know how you guys are feeling, but taking profit with like 3% moves, 4% moves, I'm finding it very frustrating. James, how's your profit taking going there on the small moves?
You know what? I just got my merit badge for best round tripper ever. Doing quite well at it. Excellent.
Hang in there. Okay, hang in there. Guys, I am running a poll at the moment as well. I just want to see from you guys, what is the sentiment like? How are you feeling? Are you feeling bullish here? Do you think we need to go lower? Just let me know. And I am running a poll there in the show description. So just click on that one and give me some ideas here with what you guys are thinking. Okay, so that is, guys, that's the current playbook for me on BTC. Let's talk about a couple of things floating around in the news. Let's talk about some stocks as well. And, well, number one, let's talk about some lickies. Now, I looked at this about an hour ago. So let's see if we've had any changes. 185. Okay, so 10 million higher than about an hour ago, I think, for me. And look, if we start squeezing past that 618 that I've just given you, I think that is going to start expanding to, say, 300 million, 400 million. But, James, this feels like a regulation slow Monday out there in the markets. But I must say, like a green Monday tends to make me a little bit edgy. How are you on your green Mondays?
Not a great feeling. I mean, you call this a bullish Monday. It's what, 4% up, but that's about all we get right now. So I guess it is a bullish Monday. Bearish week is pheasant right here. We're going to see this turn around on
guys,
us.
I did some research today. I got an AI agent to help me a little bit today. I got my AI involved, and I basically went to deep research on the last 10 years, looking at scenarios where Bitcoin and NAS and Dow, for example, finished 1% up for the day, starting on Asia Open on a Monday, closing on US Open. I wanted to know, if we finished 1% up on the day, what happens the next day? And only 50% of the time does it actually go down. But what was interesting was 78% of the time you get a bearish Tuesday or Wednesday. So one of those days then does get a little bit dark out there after printing 1% plus on a Monday. So it's apparently green candles are 50-50 on a Monday for a bearish Tuesday. In fact, I didn't believe that when I saw that. So there's some interesting data.
50-50 then. So it sounds like it's bullish.
It's bullish. It's James's perfect scenario. Oh, and here's a video of Bitcoin trying to pump right now. Let's take a look.
You're going to hurt yourself.
Go boy, go boy. No, I just feel like this is I feel like this is around the corner here for us in the next couple of minutes. Now, if you really want some depressing news or some depressing information, guys, here we go. James, maybe just block your ears. Earmuffs for James. James was basically telling me the bottom might be in now, and I said, hold on. I got Ben Cow and I got Happiness here going to deliver something for us. So he says Bitcoin just closed below the 200-week SMA. What is interesting is how both summer 26 and 22, Bitcoin capitulated below the 200-week, then bounced, then gave it up mid-August. Now, look what happened in 2022 over here. We reclaimed the 200-week, and then look at this monster dump all the way back down. What was this? 15K, give or take, from looks like around about, say, 21K, give or take. Now, if we have a similar drop here, that's, I mean, what is that? About 40 odd %, I think, on BTC. So things could get spicy, and that takes us back into the 40s. Do you
If
like
that happens on Bitcoin, there will be 0 altcoins left. There won't be altcoins. That'll be an old word that gets retired because it doesn't exist anymore.
But if you look at this chart, I agree with you. I agree. Like, say,
I can't argue with what he's pointing out here, but it's like these things that are down 98%. I mean, they're going to lose the other two then? They get a lot further down until they go negative or what?
If this was a 1 hour chart that you were looking at, where would you long this thing? I mean, you'd look at this wick over here, right? You'd look at that. You'd look at these types of levels, and that's 45, 48, somewhere around there. So, guys, I mean, you tell me. Like, am I wrong? Is the bottom in? Like, maybe this time is different.
I'm going back to taking feet pictures, I guess.
Go back to OnlyFans. Okay, send them those toenails. Okay, guys, events this week. So not too much going on. We do have the Fed meeting minutes. It's typically not really a market mover, but I think the market's going to have a little bit of interest in this one because now the Fed is slightly less hawkish than they were previously with all the economic data that we have seen coming out here. And
yeah, because typically these don't do much, but because this guy's so quiet and doesn't communicate a lot, maybe these will start being more impactful just because it's going to give some insight into what's actually going on because he doesn't believe in communicating. He thinks the less communicating, the better, the less that they are manipulating the market just by what they're talking about. So you never know. But I think Wednesday is the big day, not for the FOMC minutes, but for this SEC CFTC meeting. With Trump being there, Ripple's going to be there, Mr. XRP, Brad Garlickhouse.
Of course.
And Coinbase is going to be there. This one could bring out some nice bullish headlines.
So let's say this, for example, like we've got a Monday pump. Generally, we try and fade the Monday pumps, but let me know in the comments. Is this time different? Are we just going to rip into Wednesday and then get some kind of sell on BTC? So let us know your thoughts there, guys. It is obviously on the table. We got news waiting on Wednesday, and obviously we've got the war situation, which starts going up and it starts going down. There's all sorts of things. Okay, but let's look at some of these charts here. This is the S&P 500 at the moment. I covered this one. I think this was on Friday. We were saying, look, possible short here. That's a little sweep of the highs and maybe a drop. And you can see this S&P is starting to drift a little bit here to the downside. Might be sort of news related, and this might be a situation where S&P, NAS down, maybe they are weaker and crypto is stronger for a couple of days. That is obviously on the table for us, but the S&P not looking great. The NAS, like, this has been super frustrating for me. I'm just not getting my short trigger here on this NAS. And right now, there's going to be liquidity building up upside and downside on this thing. So I'm expecting some kind of chaos, whether it's longer or shorter here. It is turning bearish now on the 4-hour time frame. So look, I've left my short order up here for the NAS. It's this wick that I'm looking at over there. And I covered this on the daily entry this morning. I've left it up there for now. Let's see if we get one more pump out of the market today. Maybe it's going to trigger that short, and then we get that drop to the downside. But I'm being very patient on this guy, waiting for it to come and play out. And then obviously, guys, I covered it in detail today on the daily entry. There's a big bearish order block at all-time highs. So I'm going to definitely have a crack at that one as well. Now, the Dow is the interesting one. And I was covering this one looking a bit weak today at our sort of last line of liquidity here. It was this little wick that we saw in that zone, and we've lost that. And now this thing is starting its slow move to the downside. And I believe, based on what we're looking at here, there's not much support on this Dow. So that could affect a lot of sentiment as well out there, and we could see some downside. So there are some random zones here of interest. I did drop them in my daily entry channel in the Charthackers Discord that you guys can go and play with at the moment. But yeah, it's not looking good. And I think at the moment we could expect at some point 53,200 on this guy bleeding a little bit lower. Mr. Millie Vanilli says, hope we go back to 71, then back to Cowan range. Look, it would be nice, guys. Like,
well, that would kill everybody both ways. That would make a lot of sense.
It would destroy everyone. I was actually talking to Chento today, and I mean, we were saying the classic situation here is that the market pumps and you try and short the first zone, and then on this occasion, it squeezes to the next zone. Then you try and short that zone and it squeezes to the next zone. And then everyone capitulates and says, okay, let's go long. And then you get fucked. And that might
be just enough to get people bullish. If we made it to 71, they're like, yes, we're so back, bottoms in, long everything, and then dump it. Yeah, it's perfect.
So
market maker
would
make
careful,
the most
guys.
of the money.
Just be careful. Just be careful. Just be careful with how you are operating. Now, obviously, the news drama never ends. And we've got the US and Iran reportedly agreed to their 60-day ceasefire. There's some back channel talk going on. But as you guess...
But the denial came in minutes later. That never happened. There is no back channel. It's like, oh, a few days away from this nonsense was a nice break. Coming back to it, I did not miss it at all.
I saw the best tweet ever. Walter Bloomberg is not Bloomberg. He's just a dude called Walter that put the name Bloomberg, and then he got lots of followers because everyone thought he was Bloomberg. Did you know that?
I did too. When I first started following him, I'm like, oh, this is Bloomberg. Yeah. So he just chose that just because of that.
It's a dude called Walter. Like, what a play. What an absolute player. Okay, anyway, nailed that. And then Mario Norfolk says, turns out the Iran was never really into the peace deal. So he's given a little bit of commentary here about how this is just the calm before the storm. And there's a much bigger war on the horizon, guys. So look, everyone's got an opinion. There's a lot happening out there. Again, let's just try and be reactive in the big zones and watch a couple of key markers. And at the moment, oil, for me, I did cover it today on the daily entry as well, is teeing up a little bit bullish here. So that is one of my concerns. You know, bullish oil, maybe bearish on some of the other assets here. Oil pops higher. We could be in for a little bit of fun there to the downside. Now, obviously, crypto could be a slightly different scenario with the SEC situation. But at the moment, you got to say, if oil's going to explode here, we might be under pressure on a lot of these other assets. So just keep your eyes on this oil chart. You don't necessarily have to trade it, but it is something you need to be watching if this thing does start pushing a little bit higher. Okay, so crypto lady long oil. Nice. Okay, nice.
Anticipating it. Yep.
Well, let's hope it pops for her. Okay, let's see. Now, Amit is talking about Uber, and I haven't spoken about Uber since I did a round trip about 4 months ago. It was a wonderful thing because Uber does take you on round trips, and then I literally round tripped it in a trade as well. So it's really a nice combination there for us. But Amit is talking about being bullish on Uber, thinking the fair value is around $120 versus where it's at sitting at 76. So there's a bit of an argument here for the fundamental guys, but I thought, let me look at this now before you go and ape in on spot, because some guys dropped a thesis about why it should be 120. I thought, let's just quickly look at this thing and see. Like, we haven't looked at trades here on Uber in a very long time, and at the moment it's probably been pretty boring for anyone sitting in this thing getting chopped around. This is the 3-day chart, so these are all 3-day candles. So these lows were put in February, and we are sitting here in August, okay? And we still just chopping around in Uber. So where are the potential trades here for us? I think the best play has to be some kind of market capitulation. Maybe oil starts ripping, NAS falls over, sentiment shifts, we get a bit of a drop. I think 60 is a banger. Look at that liquidity there. Looks like a proper banger to me. So alarms on. My alarm's set, ready to go. If we hit 60, that's a long zone. Alternatively, Uber traders, I think you know the drill. This could be some kind of nice accumulation or whatever you want to call it. When we break through, that blue line is the 200-day MA. You saw it with something like Ondo, for example. It accumulated for months in a little bit of a range. Once it broke out, it accelerated really hard to the upside. So what I want to suggest here is there's a possible momentum trade on Uber, but the trigger is going to be when you start prairie dogging it through 79 through 79.80. Okay, so look out for the prairie dog on Uber 79.80. You pop that guy, there could be an acceleration. A lot of guys are going to step in and try and trade that above the 200-day MA, because these TradFi guys love that 200-day MA. It's a big guide for them. Okay, and Crypto Lady says Google looking okay. Yeah.
Are you in virtual at the moment?
No, please tell me it's not ripping. No. Stop it, James. Stop it, James. Okay, James, back to the gulag. Send him back to the gulag. Can't tell me virtual's ripping. God, I nearly actually pulled it out today. And it's all above the 50. Wow, these markets are moving. Okay, let's talk Microsoft. Bearish, okay. I'm not going to get married to this one. But guys, this is playing out nicely. Okay, shorted this one on WEX, And I've just started a SpaceX short because it's hit our 150 again. And I saw DJ and Dave was talking about some SpaceX yesterday as well. But I'm going to run a super, super tight stop on this guy. Okay, so SpaceX, you probably run it up to about, say, 154 is pretty much the max I want to go here in terms of risk. So possible rollover on SpaceX, but you can see Microsoft short rolling over nicely now at the moment. And in terms of SpaceX, you can see here's the play at the moment. It is pushing back into the zone. We can see there are some wicks here and things like that. So let's see what happens in this type of zone. Maybe it does roll over for a round 2. Okay, so VVV is ripping. Okay, so these AI plays are starting to wake up.
That's it. Yeah, maybe that's what we need to be looking at is the AI agent. I saw yesterday or the day before that Griffin all of a sudden had woken up too, and yeah, a few of these things are starting to move.
Okay, it's interesting. Like the minute things turn bullish again, what do the guys dive into? Those AI type plays and things like that. Super interesting here what's going on. So guys, we're going to cover some alts now. I've got a ton of stuff for you, and I've got a lot of updates because we hit quite a lot of zones during the course of last week, even last night. So Pendle, for example, that thing's moving nicely. Aero, when entry, is doing things at the moment. We've got what else? We've got Pump, possibly another top long here on Pump. We've got Hyperliquid looking good. What else? Lido, I've got for you. ETHFI, we've got Link. WLD, I've got an E&A also. And I'm just going to show you guys something interesting. When this market was melting down, we hit some really nice zones on some of these alts. And I'm going to show you a very simple way that you can try and identify some of these areas. Okay, so just stick around. Let's go. Shall we start with ETH? Let's start with a hero. Okay, you won't even believe this. Bitmine, they went again. 9,900 ETH. Whose money? Please tell me who's paying for this.
It's endless wherever it's coming from. I wish I had access to that kind of capital. And you think he'd diversify and try and get something else in there.
Maybe buy something else. Jeez. Yeah, okay, cool. I mean, yeah, eggs in one basket, literally. Okay, so anyway, literally. Okay, so guys, let's talk ETH. And look, I mean, it's nice, but I'm certainly not getting excited about the current ETH situation. I've still got some ETH long running, as you guys know. But in terms of what we're looking at up here, it's a bit of a war zone to the upside on ETH. So I'm finding it very challenging to get super excited about this current move and, to come out here and start top longing when our oscillators are looking a bit tired on a Monday. I feel a little bit edgy about the situation. Now, granted, we do have the news available. Okay, so maybe it's an interest to be net long in the situation. Maybe that is a play, but in terms of hunting good short zones, in terms of playing safe in certain areas, I'm not changing that current strategy at the moment. Okay, so ETH 1950, this top zone over here looks like the extreme of a possible move. Okay, that was the old big rejection zone that I wanted originally when we were floating around sort of in that type of region. So 1950 for me, still an upside target for ETH, and then the downside stuff, well, we can deal with that tomorrow. If we get a rejection, we'll start talking at those lower levels. But right now you can see this is a danger zone for ETH. You don't have to have done charting for very long to understand that this is a typical bearish area that you could come into. So just be cautious in these zones, especially considering that some of these things are getting a little bit overcooked at the moment. Okay, so guys, there's your ETH play. 1920, 1950, danger zones there for me. I think also reasonable TP areas. If you've been parked in longs for a long time, maybe clip some profit. If you break through those zones, then yes, maybe we can add to some of these things. Now, this is an interesting take. And again, remember, this is what makes a market. The bulls and the bears. There's always a bullish opinion. Someone's buying, someone's selling. And, there's always that argument out there at the moment. And you've seen Ben Cowan, slightly bearish post there today. And we've got Crypto Bullet talking about a Sol 1 week chart. Also, funnily enough, comparing this to 2022, just like Ben Cowan was comparing his Bitcoin chart to 2022. And this guy is talking about a drop in Solana, if you take a look at this chart, to around about, say, high 40s, give or take, for Sol. So the question is the bottom in? What do you guys think? Let me know. James, I mean, have I converted you yet? Do you still think
$40 Sol? Man. Yeah, I mean, we can certainly go lower. That's never a problem in crypto. We can always go lower. TradFi not so much, but crypto,
okay.
Easy.
So, guys, again, there you go. Let us know in the chats here. Let's see who's look. I know PMG George really wants some AI action here. He's talking about some of these things. And Adam says Ben Cowan is his quant. He's also my quant, guys. Don't worry. Well, who else we got here? Who else?
Also a fantastic YouTube guest. Just have to say.
I know he was amazing. So charismatic.
Best guest we've ever had.
Yeah, no, it was nice. Okay, so Father Adam Pickles says 48K, and the investor. Oh, Ben Cowan, the day is bullish. I will everything without TA. Yeah, that's fine.
I think it's long everything. Yeah.
Bottom isn't in yet, says delinquent, and with Trump anything is possible. Easy Billionaire says higher. Okay, so guys, this is what makes the market, right? Okay, and I see Zweletu wants to try and short some Hyperliquid. I'm assuming he wants to short some Hyperliquid. Okay, so guys, on the Sunday banger, I covered this scenario yesterday, and look at that. Sol drops into the zone. We actually really nailed those setups again, myself and DJ and Dave on a Sunday. Drops into 74. Look at that nice bounce. Okay, so some of you guys who, especially the Americans who are awake for that dump, you've now secured Sol at 74, and it's literally in your hands. Okay, remember, we call it the daily entry, the Lord of Entry. I deliver you entries, but it's up to you, okay, when you want to take profits on some of these things. Entries you're never going to have a problem with on these guys. Okay, so in terms of Sol getting a little bit hot on the oscillator, but plan so far, so good. Now, what can you do here? What can you expect for Solana? This is your 50-day MA. This is your VWAP. If you pop through, I think that is the play for the bulls, something along those lines. That's pretty much where I'm at the moment. So just be careful with Sol. You can see 76 is a potential rejection zone here. If it pops through, bulls, you can use that 50-day moving average as your support play. And very similarly, just like we're using Bitcoin as a possible support here on that 50-day MA, let me just highlight that over there. That could be your bullish support there on Bitcoin, and same story with Solana. Okay, so just look after yourself. And the SPX to rip shortly. God, it's SPX 6900, or is he talking about SPX, the actual SPX? No, SPX 6900. I just, like, it hit 6900. Is that meme still valid? Can't we get a new one? Can't we get like SPX 10,000?
8,900 or something. I just saw some calls today that's I think it was Tom Lee actually calling for 9,000 on the S&P.
Maybe hackers must get a meme called like SPX. No, we'll get XRP 10,000. I mean, that could be a banger.
That one is going to hit though.
That will hit. That'll be a banger, and we'll trade that more than XRP. Fuck, that's an idea. Okay, don't steal my idea. Okay, do not steal my idea. BMG George wants to long bread. My God. Yeah, I mean, maybe, maybe. Okay, let's talk about Pump. Again, Pump.fun doubled Hyperliquid's revenue last week, and this thing is still doing the moves. We got a beautiful pump out of this thing last night, but it wants to go again. I'd like hits resistance, rejects, and here we go. Pump looking horny again. Okay, so for potentially higher, we've got a toe curler coming out here at the moment as well. And what does that mean for us? That does mean we potentially get our 33 target for Pump, and that is the big short zone that I've been looking at now probably for the last week. Okay, so Pump is still looking good, guys. If you are sitting in this thing, I couldn't stomach it. Okay, like we push back up to this nice zone, and here we go again. So there is a potential top long for you guys here on this thing, but in terms of what you can do with supports here, let's go 2921. You can use that, or alternatively you can go 2816. Okay, 2921, 2816. Those are reasonable supports that you can try and play with. Obviously, you know the drill. I did it to you. I showed you guys how to do that with Hyperliquid. When you get the break through the horizontal, okay, you nibble, bang, you add, bang, okay, and then you protect yourself with a stop under these zones. All right, so use those areas there to look after yourself. And finally, XRP to 10K. I think we need that. We got to get that. That's going to be the biggest meme ever. No one's even going to touch the real XRP. Okay, so guys, there's the top target for Pump is still 33. If you're in it and you wanted to hold on, you had the kahunas to keep holding on to that thing. Well done to you. 33 should be coming next on that guy. Okay, now let's talk Hyperliquid. And wasn't this a thing of beauty about how to structure a typical breakout play? Now, we covered this last week as a scenario, and the plan is very simple. Like for me, if I am going to trade a breakout, like I want to understand the structure, and I want to be able to play this thing strategically so that I don't get absolutely wrecked if I get it wrong. So what does that mean? It means small size when you nibble when it breaks. You can add when it moves back down because it inevitably drops lower down, and then you protect yourself with a stop loss under those bull zones. So I covered that for you in detail last week. I also covered it in my channel in the Chart Hackers Discord. And remember, there's always the opportunity. Bears, if you are bearish, you can always short that pop, and look at that. Okay, so it pops out, breaks out, and the bears got a nice short there as well. So there's something for everyone on a breakout. Remember, a breakout's not an 80% hit rate. A breakout feels more like a 50-50 play there. And if you got a structure to it, then you can start controlling it along the way. Okay, so Hyperliquid here, a little bit of a problem at this 50-day MA at the moment. Let's see if it does have a little bit more energy. I would assume watching some of these other alts starting to pop 50 days in MAs and things like that, perhaps Hype will start following them if the market manages to hold bullish into the course of tomorrow. So we'll have to wait and see. And just a special note here, there was rumors that Hype might be a major beneficiary of that SEC meeting, and there was a sort of Hype pump into Friday, but then they canceled the meeting and Hype rolled over a little bit, but now this meeting is around the corner, so possibly some more upside on Hype. And just a note, if it breaks that 50-day MA, we're going to be looking at things like 70, give or take. We'll look at things higher up there, 72 and so. Okay, so right now that plan is good. In terms of the full trade, we are pretty much there. In terms of the intention of the original move, it's up to you guys, obviously, how you want to play this thing. Now, in terms of the oscillator, also bearish prints, things like that. So just take it easy. And PMG George says, as Dylan said, from 2024, don't forget the... Wait, I got that. Wait, where's this thing? Don't forget about the cat. Can you hear this? Don't forget about the bookie. Bobcat and you. One day, guys, one day we're going to use this again. Okay, and we're going to have a great time. Okay, so what does Voltigo says? Yes, I can't argue against that. You've pumped into Wix, you've pumped into the 50-day MA, you've pumped into the 100. There are some bearish signs there. Yes, reasonable. Okay, my only thought here is that there was rumors that it could be a nice beneficiary of the Wednesday news, so maybe just keep your eyes on that in case they want to send it a little bit higher. Okay, so let's talk about Uni. Okay, how's this? Volchigo says Hype is going to 57. Where's that? Yeah. Well, there's your support. Cool. Now Dark Frost says Uni outflows on Binance from the highest transactions hit record highs despite 93% drawdown. James, do you know what accumulation is? Okay, they're accumulating Uni. Now, again, I don't know how true this is. We just know Uni was a beneficiary of the Robin Hood scenario and things like that. And look, maybe when the market turns bullish again, there is a case for Uni, but it looks as though there is some accumulation going on. And we took this trade on Friday. I gave it in my channel, and you can see there is a massive bullish order block sitting here at this big level, and that is obviously adding to the confluence here. So we had a 618, we had a bullish order block, we had beautiful wicks, we had a reversing oscillator, and this thing is now starting to grind a little bit higher. Now, again, it doesn't necessarily mean we have to be bullish on this thing, because you might find us in the next few days we could have a situation where Uni ends up much, much lower. So I just want to highlight a couple of things here for you guys. We actually have lost a rising trend. And look at this. There's a beautiful undercarriage here. There's a beautiful 200-day MA. So my message here is, if we get a pop in the market, do not get married to Uni. I think it can come lower down. So I will be exiting my Uni long. If we pump into that 200-day MA, I cannot hold on to that position into that 200-day MA. Once it gets over that, we can start talking again, but that is going to be a TP there for me. That 200-day MA looking super dangerous, and this will be a retest of the 200, the trend, the undercarriage. You probably get VWAPs and fibs there as well, causing problems along the way. Okay, so Giovanni wants to go to $1. Sure, we can deal with that. When Bitcoin's at 45, we'll probably get Uni at around about $1. Okay, so guys, just pointing this out, not looking great here. Once it hits that 200, let's see if it can reclaim. Maybe we have a different discussion, but at the moment, I'd say that is going to be the maximum move on Uni. Now, when I said to you guys, I want to show you something interesting when the market is capitulating, like really just like a simple thing you can use is these macro fibs. Now, a macro fib is a big fib pool over a big range, and we've got a lot of altcoins, for example, that dropped on the lows sort of early June. And if you pull a fib from early June, to the highs, you can see really how simple it is to start identifying areas where you might get a bounce or might get some kind of reaction. So I just want to show you guys, for example, Uni was one of them. We had the 618 on Uni. So I just want to, let me remove these order blocks. And then I want you guys to see the 618. Look at that. Okay, so there was your 618 fib, and that is your typical macro fib where you expect fib traders to start buying in these zones. And obviously it adds to the power if you have order blocks, if you have VWAPs and other types of supports in those zones, that obviously adds to the strength of that area. But there's your drop into a macro 618 fib. Look what happened to Pendle as well. We had the drop into the corresponding 786 from early June. Look at that 786 fib on Pendle. Everyone drops at the same time onto corresponding fibs. Remember, altcoins, they don't have to be matching fibs. They just need to be corresponding fibs. So this Pendle, for example, dropped lower down. And that is why I gave the chart hackers the long yesterday in that Sunday banger that we do late on a Sunday in the Discord. Okay, so that's that Pendle long 786 fib. What do we do now with Pendle? Well, it's looking a little bit more bullish on the oscillator, but pretty much the similar scenario to what we've got here with Uni. Really much the same game here. You can see we are moving into a danger zone at the moment on Pendle, and this thing might reject. Look at that 200-day MA coming into play. So again, another one of these situations where I almost feel like we don't want to be married to these things too long, or at least be taking some kind of profit off the table if we move into these zones, because we don't want to be faced with some kind of hard rejection now on Bitcoin, and then we give up all those gains from these moves. Okay, so we've had a nice bounce on Pendle. Guys, let me know, hackers, which one of you took this one yesterday? And I mean, look, 5%, James, we're getting hard for 5% here. Isn't that exciting?
That's like max move, it seems, on these things. If you don't take the profit, you round trip.
Oh, it's painful.
Time.
It's painful. Okay, but guys, anyway, there's like a nice little macro fib giving you a bounce there on Pendle. Very simple stuff that you can do. Market nice and red, just bang out some of those fibs. Another example was Dupe as well. Look at this, dropping from our early June lows as well, moving into a 786. And I gave the hackers this yesterday as an option, possible bounce trade. You can see Dupe doing absolutely nothing at the moment, but you can see how they put the brakes on in these types of areas. Very simple TA that you can do. It's fibs from lows to the highs in macro big moves, and you can get these zones playing out for you. So Dupe also looking very much like the other two. Look at that undercarriage. Look at the 200-day MA. So if there is upside here, I'd be very cautious in this region. 0.18 into about 183. Okay, but other than that, is there potential long on Dupe here? Yes. Okay, you can probably take this one. What do we got? About 1.8% risk on this guy. Just look out for a sweep of those lows. They might come and take out these lows or whatever they want to do. But if the market's going to remain bullish, Dupe seems to be a little bit of a lagger here. And if you've missed something like Pendle or Uni and things that have already started running, maybe Dupe is an option here for you guys. So your stop loss will be a close below 165. So if you close below 165, you can see that is the low over there. So we're going to watch that area. That could be a possible long for you guys. Just a short-term long to a little bit higher there on Dupe. Okay, so good luck with that. Guys, remember, these charts you see here, they go into the Chart Hackers Discord for you guys. So the members all have access to all of that stuff. Also, Daily Entry's got its own channel there as well for you guys, plus all the market updates and all the team, for those of you that don't know what is going on in that Discord. Now, I've got a couple more things I want to update you guys on, and I've got a couple of short ideas here for you guys. Now, Land of Goshen Studio 6402 says careful. What are we careful? What are we careful for? James, do we know? Do we know? Okay, enlighten us, sir. Sir Nifty, who is tomorrow market? Okay, I don't know what that means. What does that mean? No, you don't know? Okay, James is going like this. He doesn't know. Okay, so guys, maybe just provide some context here if you have a couple of things that you are commenting on. Okay, let's talk about possible options here on Injective, and I just want to give you a scenario here, because this is also why I feel like the market's not really bottomed and we might be getting ahead of ourselves. Anyone who thinks that we need to be super bullish here at the moment. So Injective has got some interesting things happening, but in terms of like a macro major fib, you can see on this chart in front of you, Injective has got a very big zone at this 36.4 region. Can you see the zone over here? Super bullish order block, 786, nice horizontals floating around in that area. And that looks like a zone that at some point wants to get tapped. So what we can see playing out in some of these scenarios is possibly a move to the upside like you're seeing on some of these alts, and then a further drop back down into these bigger zones where there's more liquidity and perhaps more fuel for a bigger move to the upside. So I just want to highlight that at the moment. And I am trading Injective on as we speak here on 2-bit. Remember, I said I'm trying to operate in this 2-bit TIFT trading competition that is kicking off in the next couple of days. And I want everybody to be able to get involved here. And I said, let's go. We're going small account. Last month I did 300%. Trading a small account, and I'm just grinding it out now, just trying to trade some key zones on 2-bit and just trying to get something going here at the moment. You can see last month we had a couple of banger days here. We had some big moves, and then we had a couple of red days. But again, look at the losses. They're really limited there, and we're really cutting these losers early, and we're just playing high percentage zones, trying to take profit early here on these guys. So come and join me in this 2-bit TIFT competition. There is a link in the trading in the show description. Just go in there and sign up, and let's grind out a little account. We're taking setups that the team is giving on the show. There's a couple of high impact areas that I'm giving as well. We're going to go small positions here. We're not going to get carried away with them. We're just going to see if we can just grind out another 300% like I got last month on this 2-bit account. Okay, so just jump in if you guys want to join me. And at the moment I am trading Injective. This hit a limit order that we preset. This was a while ago, but it was a preset limit order. I actually can't remember if it was me or one of the team guys, but it was a preset order that has picked up. So that order that you see on Injective is sitting here in the zone. So there is the possibility that we get this bounce out of this area. But I'm viewing this as if we drop further down, the next banger is going to be this 3.7 region into, say, 3.64, looking pretty good on Injective. So what I suggest, get your alarms on lower down. Okay, if you want to have a scalp on Injective, you can see this is an existing zone where you can scalp a long, and you can put your stop for a close under this type of region here, 3.99. And if it does start dropping, then we know exactly where our next trade zone is, and we can sit back and wait for that macro fib to get hit. Okay. And yes, PMG George says small positions, big move. Yes, especially when the market is bullish. Right now, obviously, it's small position, small move, getting fucked up left, right, and center. But yes, when the market starts cooking again, you go small position and you look for those big moves there out of these good zones, and it will come right. Okay. Buy high, sell low. That's good. That's good. I support that.
100%. Only way to do crypto.
That's the only way to do crypto, guys. Buy high, sell low. Okay, let's update a couple of things. So Aero, as it turns out, was the future of finance for a few percent. Okay,
a few percent.
So, I mean, we gave this trade. When was this? I looked at this
1992?
thing. In 1992, it was a Wednesday. In 1992, we were still using a 386 before the Pentium even came out. And you can see we gave this trade it must have been last week, must have been Wednesday last week. And look how long it's taken to play out into the zone. It's been, look at all the divergences. It's been absolute scenes, okay? Like waiting for this thing to actually do something here for us. And, after all of that, a 4% move. I mean, it's like, what are these guys doing to us at the moment?
Can we get TP2 at least? Just give us TP2.
Please give us TP2. I mean, we're almost there. Guys, we're almost there, okay? But we're grinding this shit out now. We're grinding it out. And remember, when the market goes bullish again, jeez, okay, these things fly, and we're going to have tons of fun, okay? So just hang in there. Just hang in there, guys. All right, so Chamberlain says he's closed. Shoal as well closed. Is Aero round tripping? Look, not yet.
Not yet. Yet is the operative word.
Not yet, okay? Have you seen that interview with that girl and Meghan Markle? Where they're going, yet. Have you seen that? It's like a podcast now. But no, it's trauma. It's trauma to watch. Okay, guys, let's talk about shorts. I've got a couple of shorts for you. This Lido is like really like looking nice. Look how bearish it's getting up here. Look at all these reversal prints that you see to the upside. So waiting patiently on Lido. I've got an alarm on sitting here. 3-2. Look at the undercarriage, 50-day, 100-day VWAP, bearish order block, 200-day. Fuck me. you know, if it goes in there and you're not taking on risk to at least attempt a short, like, I don't know what to say. Like, that's a super bearish area. It would be really unusual if this thing really ripped through on its first attempt to the upside. So I think high probability short in that zone. What you can do is you can also flip it over and you can look at yourself like this and you can say, where would I long this? Where would I long Lido if it dropped into the zone? And I think you can see pretty simply here, guys, like if you like longs, that's the long there, and that's the long over there. Okay, that makes a ton of sense to me. And now we flip this thing back over, bang, and you can see why this looks like a nice short in that zone. Okay, so alarms on there on Lido. I really like this thing. I'll drop that in the hackers Discord. And then ETHFI as well. I've got a short running on this guy, but I don't want to discount another pop. Okay, so I just want to say here, there's the possibility this thing screams up. Maybe there's some news or whatever the story is. They squeeze it up again. They take out some of the early shorts and they start hitting this type of wick over here on this ETHFI. So I don't want to write this off. I want to say possible fresh short on this guy, 52 into 53. Okay, so just stick an alarm on in that zone. If this pops up into today, 52 into 53, your risk is going to be round about 2.7%. So make sure you manage your size correctly. This isn't a 1% risk trade. You need to give it breathing room. So go smaller size, rather have a wider stop. Give it an opportunity to roll over. If it doesn't, obviously you cut the position and then we start looking at shorts higher up later on at 661. On ETHFI. Okay, but right now you can see that zone. That's a super interesting zone. Possible rejection in that area. Okay, and PMG George says Lido, liquidations department organization. Yes, I agree. Okay, hopefully it's not us. Hopefully we're liquidating the bulls there when it rolls over. Now, Link, also a nice one, guys. This is Link on the 4-hour time frame. We have an untapped 786. I think just be patient. Look at 10. That looks good. We've got a wick. We've got an undercarriage. We've got a 786, 10 looking good to me as well. We've got a couple of order blocks here. Let's just look at various time frames here. If they can just print these order blocks for us. Look at that. So we got some bearish order blocks sitting up here on Link as well. I would say reasonable short. Like these are all really nice hedge plays. Let's say you're sitting long at the moment. You're feeling a bit uncomfortable. You want some cover. Hedge plays, guys. Lido could be nice. ETHFI could be nice. Link could be nice. Remember, these all ran while some of the others were dropping, and you might find just a little bit of a rotation here in the market, and they start switching over. Okay, so that looks nice to the upside. All look reasonable risk as well. CRV, not much to say. 22.8, just waiting for that one. WLD, this is interesting. I wanted to look at this for a short, but I remember once, like, WLD has its own personality. And like sometimes it's a tricky one unless it's super overextended. And you can see right now it's starting to feel a little bit like Link was when Link was under that 200-day moving average. Link was consolidating in that area and it wasn't dropping, and then we got a hard pump on Link. So my concern about shorting WLD is like it might be a little bit premature. I think this thing could squeeze a little bit higher. In terms of longs, guys, like I just want you to note there is some bearish signs here, okay, at the moment on the oscillator. But what you can do if you want to start managing your risk is you can start trying to build something in a local area. So you can start working on this consolidation under the 200-day, you know, acknowledging the fact that, okay, we are at resistance. We need to understand that, but you can start buying any like bits of weakness on this thing, and you might find it starts doing that and then it pops. Okay, and once it pops, you can start adding to your position, looking for it to go a little bit higher up. So WLD, you can see we've got a nice horizontal sitting here at the moment. It's trying to hold the level, and there is a possibility that that runs. Obviously, there is risk, so manage your risk accordingly. And I would say you could do something along these lines. Any bit of weakness on this guy, when it drops lower, just nibble. Don't go big size. Just nibble. When it breaks the 200-day, you are then positioned in a small size. When it breaks that 200-day nicely, you can start ramping up that size. And remember, then your average entry goes up, but you are still in a nice profit area there if you start pushing it up. So just be conservative with how you are doing it. You can see they're trying to hold it up here at the moment. So all the way down into, let's go 354 into about 35 looks like an area you can play in. Okay, just be safe, manage your risk. If you start closing below 35, then maybe this one is wrong. We cut this thing, we come back later on. Okay, so that makes sense to me. I'll put this in the Hackers Discord for you guys. And then ENA, also a level that I spoke about not too long ago. And I just want to highlight again, obviously now this thing is bounced, but we covered the 786, and it's very simple stuff, guys. Horizontal 786 after a nice lengthy sell-off in the market, you normally get a response. You normally get a reaction in those areas. I don't want to say it's a banker, but fuck, it's a banker. You drop on the 786 after a long sell-off there, you normally get some kind of reaction in the market. Okay, so ENA hit the zone. It is now moving. 814, I would say that is going to be your base. That is your support base. There is no fresh trade on this thing at the moment until we get some kind of move at the market. We need to see what is going to happen. Okay, so guys, obviously super important. You stay connected to my channel in the Chart Hackers Discord. I drop updates, I drop setups during the course of the day. Some of these setups were picked up last night on the live session we do in the Hackers Discord. So if you were on the live session, you would have been prepped. You would have had limit orders set. You would have known where to engage in those longs. Now we've had the bounce. Now we're moving into these zones where we say, okay, are we taking profit? Are we looking for shorts? Or are we going to wait for a breakout and add to these positions? So remember, we like red. We get our positions when we're nice and red. Then when it's nice and green, we are in control of the trade, and then we can decide how we want to operate. Okay, so in terms of the tightest zones at the moment, I'd say Jupe was probably the tightest one available for a possible bounce. But things like from yesterday, Pendle is running already. Hyperliquid, I covered the whole week. Pump's taking off again as well. So just play safe now. Don't get FOMO and start longing tops, and then next thing Bitcoin does reject, and then you find yourself getting rinsed to the downside. So play the patience game. Come to the Hackers Discord, guys. You'll learn so much in there if you're trying to take your trading seriously. Okay, guys, James.
Good luck, everyone.
Guys, good luck out there. We'll see you tomorrow. And we go again later.